Welcome to another episode of The Halal Gap. As always, I'm your host, Sikandar, and I'm joined by...
your other host, Sofia Obeidi.
And hiding in the corner, we have...
I'm not hiding, but hello.
Hamada is also here. We've got an incredible episode for you guys here today. Take it away, Sofia.
She's been called the go-to interviewee for perspectives on Islam and Muslims in the entertainment industry and has been often interviewed by the likes of the Los Angeles and New York Times, Vanity Fair, and Variety. As the director of MPAC's Hollywood Bureau, she's a frequent consultant on projects by everyone from Walt Disney Studios to Paramount to Amazon to all of the major networks, and in 2017 was chosen by Variety as one of the 60 changemakers in the entertainment industry. In addition to being a frequent guest lecturer at universities across America, she's also been a panelist at Sundance, Women in Entertainment, and several other festivals. Joining us all the way from LA, please welcome Sue Obeidi.
Woo!
Woo!
Nice to be here. Thank you, Sofia.
Thank you so much for having us.
Pleasure's mine.
This is honestly such an honor because, you know, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, we have a chance to interview a lot of creatives who are in the industry and just generally within the entertainment field, but we don't get a chance as much to see that other side of the equation, and especially on the advocacy side. That's something that's so important to us at the Mosquers. So thank you for your time. We're excited to dive into this. Before we do dive into the incredible work that you're doing with MPAC, we'd love to learn a little bit more about you and to get a sense of how, you know, where you grew up, all that great stuff, if you don't mind.
Fantastic. I absolutely will. Thank you again for inviting me. I'm so honored to be here and to see, you know, the younger generation doing the heavy lifting, because you are the future and you are the tools that are going to change the narrative and our condition, frankly. So I am a lot older than all of you and probably your parents. I'm an immigrant to America. I came from Palestine. I was born in Palestine. I came when I was 5. And, you know, my parents wanted to come for a better life, you know. And so here we are in America back in the day when people didn't know what Islam was, and hummus and falafel was just a weird, exotic, foreign food that people heard of. It wasn't, you know, in abundance as it is now and what have you. And so I grew up in a suburb of LA called Cerritos, which I still live in. I wanted to be an actress growing up, but coming from a Palestinian practicing Muslim family who came to America for a better lifestyle and better living, this industry was not where your parents wanted you to be in. And while I was never denied or forbidden, I wasn't really encouraged to go into that field of work. I want you to know right now, I no longer wanted to be an actress. I realized way like back in the day that I belong behind the camera, not in front of the camera. And I actually, you know, accepted that I have other talents that I could utilize in the industry behind the camera. And my passion in life are 2 things. Number one is my faith. Islam is I just love being Muslim. There's nothing else I'd rather be. I'm not the perfect Muslim in any way, but I just, you know, embrace it and acknowledge every day that this is the faith I belong to. And number 2, the entertainment industry has always been a passion of mine. I've always loved the industry. The first movie I've ever seen was The Sound of Music. Mm-hmm. And I watched it with one of my favorite aunts on a summer vacation in Egypt. At an outdoor theater. And I thought that is what I want to do. I want to be part of all that, you know, telling a story. Long story short, I, you know, accepted the fact that I wasn't going to pursue the acting career. And so I majored in business administration. I have a marketing degree and I have an MBA, and I went the corporate route. I graduated from, you know, graduate school and went to work for corporate America. I was a banker for 10 years before all the banks crashed and merged in America. If you recall that, I think you might. And around the 10-year mark, I thought, you know what? I don't even want to be in corporate America. I know of this organization called the Muslim Public Affairs Council, MPAC. I want to quit my job I was at the height of my career, and I was like, I want to quit my job and go get a brainless part-time job and go volunteer for this organization that I knew about because I went to their events. And I just wanted to give back. I wanted to, be an activist. I wanted to be a warrior. And I ended up, because you know what happens, right? When you put it out there to God, God just answers back. And I found myself at an event where I was offered on the spot to be the director of operations for the Muslim Public Affairs Council. Paid, health benefits, 401k, vision, and dental. And so when I was going to go volunteer, now it's a paid position. And it was a full-time position, and it was a dream come true. And this was about 9 months before 9/11.
Wow.
And there's a lot in between that I'm, just skipping over. So for about 9 months, I was what I called in a honeymoon period. I left my corporate job, that was basically a rat race. You know what a rat race is, because you're climbing the corporate ladder and you're getting the recognition and it's great, but you're not really serving humanity and you're not really serving your own, And, back in the day, the oil crisis, the Iranian hostage crisis, that played a part in how we were vilified in the industry as well. And so I grew up with that, and I really wanted to work for an organization that, dealt with it head on. And back in the day, and I'm skipping a lot, I'm so sorry.
No.
So honeymoon period, blah, blah, blah. And then 9/11 happened, and life has never been the same. The corporate lifestyle that I had, where I was working 60 hours a week, and I was, it was nonstop work, was even more so now after 9/11, because now we're in crisis mode the whole time. What happened during that time is that Hollywood started creating more content that vilified us. That's when you started seeing Sleeper Cell, 24, all the Chuck Norris films that would come out, and we were definitely the villains. If it wasn't the Arab being the villain, it was, the Muslim being the villain, obviously. And I was the director of operations. I was not the director of the Hollywood Bureau. And the only thing that Impact did during that time was our media awards. And we would consult a few times throughout the years, and it wasn't anything proactive. So fast forward after 9/11, we're getting more, content about Muslims and Islam that is very inaccurate and authentic. And so we started doing more Hollywood work. I'm still the director of operations, and we're just kind of juggling all these roles, right? Fast forward to 2016, where Trump, ran for the presidency. And that's when really, honestly, the floodgates opened, because what ended up happening is the industry, being liberal, really wanted to resist the new administration. And now they were proactively trying to help the underrepresented communities, whether they were the Black communities, the Latinx communities, the Muslim communities. I mean, when did you ever see non-Muslims marching at the airports? Ever. That never happened, and they were doing it for us. And the industry responded, in kind. It was like, for example, during this time, Shonda Land of Grey's Anatomy reached out and basically said, Shonda's, so pissed that she wants to create a Muslim recurring character. Impact helped create that character.
Oh, cool.
After Impact, there were other consultants, because the character lasted for 2 years before the character got fired. And so, but we were the first call. So between 16 and now, it's been actually a really nice experience in that the industry has been responding in a very positive way. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. We have a long way to go in changing narratives, and there's a lot of heavy lifting, and we're standing on the shoulders of so many other communities. But it does feel a little bit different than it did 10 years ago.
So would you say that, like, post 9/11, like between 2001 and 2016, did it feel like Impact was kind of doing it on their own a little more? And then, like, post 2016, it was like, okay, everyone else is now on board?
a thousand times. I mean, let me also add that in 2011, so we're doing this work as we're moving away from 9/11, it's becoming more like the Hollywood outreach has become more like you could definitely feel it. Like they want our services, they want our consulting and what have you. And so in 2011, only is when we actually established the Hollywood Bureau. I didn't transition to the Hollywood director then either. I was juggling operations in Hollywood at the same time, and I was working with another person by the name of Dina Nassar, who I think you need to interview. She works for USC's the Media Initiative, and I can connect you if you want, and we can talk about that later. But it wasn't until 11 that we created the department, and it wasn't until 17 that I became the full-time director.
So,
yeah.
Oh, no. So I was just going to ask, was there something specific in 2011 that made you guys think, okay, you know what, now we need a conscious effort towards the Hollywood Bureau?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Basically, the outreach, it was tangible. You know, it was constant. It wasn't sporadic. Once in a while, a studio would call us. It was constant. And so we actually developed this thing called the Hollywood Summit, where we would take college and graduate students and take them for about 4 days, run around Hollywood and have them meet with executives and creatives for roundtables. And we really landed well with the industry, with the mainstream industry. What Sofia was asking about, when did we go from, it being kind of a novelty to it being now Muslims in Hollywood is a thing now, right? And as it should be. We actually felt a lot of criticism. We received a lot of criticism from the community, our own community. Like, why are you doing Hollywood work? They're only vilifying us. They're not on our side. And it's haram. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about all that. Being in this industry is haram. We heard it all. We heard it all. I'm going to burn in hell because I don't wear hijab. And we heard it all. And so we just kind of did what we did. And our theory of change is that of the prophets, peace be upon them, and that is engaging with those who don't, know you, who don't understand you, who don't like you, who love you, who hate you, who despises you, And so our thought process is we are engaging not because we want to endorse or green light anything, but we have to be in the room because guess what? They're going to do it with or without us. Totally. And so we might as well, be in the room and steer the ship. From there, it grew even more. Our Hollywood Summit became almost a thing of the past because then the industry started calling us and saying, hey, we have this book we want to adapt and we need your writers. We need we need a South Asian female writer to take the book to adapt it from a book to a screenplay. And suddenly we realized that this is real. Like this is becoming like a thing where we can now be the big players in the industry. And of course, the Rami Youssefs and the Hassan Minajs, they've been doing the heavy lifting, during this time as well. And so, we the Emmy Awards came out last week, as you know, and there are 4 Muslims that were nominated in major categories. And when was that? When did that ever happen?
Incredible.
And so we went from, Muslims in Hollywood being, a thing of like emerging to now actually being big players in the industry. Yeah. They want to hear our stories. They are us now. When we say they, we mean us. We are part of this industry, and we're in it to win it. Yeah. And it's sorry. Go ahead. No. I just wanted to make one more point, Sikandar and Sofia, that there is no end game. Like if you look at all marginalized communities, including the Black, the LGBTQ, the Latinx, we're never going to be like, okay, we're done. We're going to sit back and, we're good. Mm-hmm. It's going to always be an uphill climb, and there'll always be content that we are not going to be happy with. Right. But on the other side is now we have screenwriters, producers, and directors tipping the scale. Mm-hmm. And so we are very hopeful. And there is I just want to say one other thing before, Sikandar, you ask me the next question. that there is no other industry like this industry that can change hearts and minds, values, opinions, and actions.
Right.
We can have lawmakers make laws all they want, but that still doesn't tell us how to feel about one another. But this industry does.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that.
No, and I appreciate that completely. And I think we are very much aligned, right? The reason why we are so passionate about what we do here with the Mosquers is because I think we are all, to an individual, big believers in the power of storytelling through the medium of film and television. And so, I think that's something that we've all bought into for the last 15 years, and we continue to do, and sincerely, can recognize the efforts that are happening on the broader scale in Hollywood. I do want to get into the weeds a little bit about what you've mentioned, but before we do that, I think it would be helpful for the listeners to just get a bit of an understanding as to what exactly the advocacy work means, right? And I say this somewhat tongue in cheek, but watching. As a massive consumer of entertainment and also as someone who's kind of been fortunate enough to be sort of in this world for the last little while, from kind of that outside perspective, you watch TV and you watch sort of what has been portrayed of Muslims over the last, X number of years, and basic things like how people pray oftentimes get misrepresented. And so it's always like, man, can't they just call a Muslim and just be like, what the hell? Like, it's not that hard. So can you talk to us a little bit about what exactly does that advocacy look like?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, look, and this is why I said it will always have work to do,
right?
Because we'll do all the work, and then you'll get one show that they just portrayed the character praying like, incorrectly. And it's just like, really, they couldn't pick up the phone. Yeah. No one has a Muslim friend that can just, So the Muslim Public Affairs Council is a public policy advocacy group that has a Hollywood arm, and that's me. And basically, and when I say me, I mean, I do work with other staff members. I just meant like my department. Right. I'm not a lone soldier here. Basically, what our advocacy work entails is 5 C's, and I'm going to call them off to you, but the top 3 are really mostly the advocacy part. I want to start by saying that we are not a watchdog, and there's nothing wrong with watchdogs. They have their purpose, and they get a lot of work done. But we chose not to be a watchdog. We chose to be a partner with the industry, so we could be a resource for them. And we've found, and PAC has found, that theory of change works well for us. That if we, and when I use the word partner, it's not like official partner, but I mean just to be a ally for them, so that they're not afraid to ask us, hey, we have a praying scene. Can you just quickly come and look at it? And so what we do in the advocacy part is number 1, consult. So we consult on TV and film projects, and our consulting, it comes in various ways. Number 1, we can consult on a script where we read the script and give notes. We don't like that way of consulting, because if you know the industry, as you do, that once a network or a film studio or production company writes a script, sometimes it's harder to get things changed. We'll give our notes and we'll pray that they take the notes, but it is harder to get what you want changed. The second way we consult is by doing roundtables in writers' rooms. So we'll call up a production, or they'll call us and say, hey, do you mind if we buy lunch for your writers, and give us an hour, 90 minutes, and we'll do a roundtable on your, to your writers. They can ask us anything they want, and we'll go from there. Oftentimes when they call us first, they already have a character in mind, a storyline and a story arc in mind, and they have, they've already storyboarded the season and what have you. Oftentimes we come in and we're just having a conversation and we leave and they're telling us things like, wow, before we talked to you, we envisioned one thing, but now we envision another thing.
And have they been relatively open to your suggestions?
Very. Very, very, very. And that's why I say to you the latter part, the latter way of consulting is the better part, because now they're open, their hearts are open, they're creatives, and they're just, having the creative juices run. And so it's easier to kind of navigate them that way, as opposed to when they give you a script and say, hey, can you give us notes? And oftentimes they come with us with, hey, we shot the film, we shot the episode. Can you tell us if it has anything, inauthentic or inaccurate? At that point, it's very hard to change anything. And so that's why the roundtables work better in consulting. Number two, we connect. We are the go-to Muslim organization in the industry, and the decision makers and creatives know that we have, great screenwriters in our database, and when they want a writer or producer or director, all they have to do is call us and we'll look in our database and we'll, send a few names over. And that works well because, we have a database that has names of everybody and their level. And so depending on the project, we can pick and choose. And what ends up happening when we send people over, I tell the screenwriter or producer or director, hey, NBC called, I sent them your name. Good luck. Keep me posted. We've been successful in getting people hired, And on the flip side is that we have screenwriters who come to us and say, I have the screenplay. Is there anyone you can connect me to? And so we can connect that way.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so does someone, in terms of that, that mentorship piece or that connection piece that you're doing for Muslim creatives in industry, and you mentioned, depending on their level. So, how, if I were to move to LA and want to become a screenwriter, what level do I need to obtain, or how would I connect with MPAC and be able to be a part of that database of people?
Yeah, I mean, connecting with Impact is easy. Just, email me, and you're connected. But the way we identify the screenwriters and the level is through our screenwriting labs and our networking events.
Okay.
And so that's how we identify those that's how we identify the screenwriters that when we are called, we're comfortable in sending over, the writers. So that's the way. Just because I meet someone doesn't mean I'm going to send them over to the next person that calls. It's a relationship building issue as well. Yeah. So it's long term, and so maybe someone calls and says, it's a small production, it's an independent production, I'm okay with an emerging talent, then I can, play around with it. But if it's a major network or a studio and they want, SAG-AFTRA, they want them, at a certain level, that also, plays into it as well. And the third thing we do between, consulting, connecting, we contribute our thought leadership by organizing and speaking on panels, and we write our opinion editorials. Yesterday we had a piece published in the Hollywood Reporter. I sent it to Hamada.
We read it,
and we have questions for sure.
Okay, sure, that's fine. That's fine. So speaking and organizing panels at Sundance, Women in Film, PGA, the Writers Guild. Those are important because they also bring in obviously the screenwriters, and you're able to start that relationship. And of course, our opinion editorials and our screenwriting labs are part of our thought leadership. So consult, connect, and contribute. Consult, connect, and contribute.
Right on.
Those are the three top C's.
Yeah. And I think it's, that's how it's going to happen, right? It's more grassroots driven that way, right? It's giving people the opportunity and the platform while also being able to help change the landscape a little bit at the same time that way. Yeah.
It is grassroots driven. It is, sure. However, it's also business driven.
Right,
There's
totally.
so many opportunities for Muslims and other underrepresented communities to go in and do an internship
Right.
in the finance department of Disney.
Yeah.
So it can't just be grassroots, or it can't just be the creative,
Right.
the creatives. It has to be both. It has to be
top down,
business.
bottom up, yeah.
We need to be green, gatekeepers. We need to be the green lighters. We need to be the decision makers.
Yeah.
We just can't be the creatives and think it's going to happen by,
for sure.
we have great stories and we're going to change the world. No, your great story has to be told, and
Right.
for it to be told, you need a contact in the business sector of it. So it's not all or nothing. They're not mutually exclusive. There's just so many paths to this thing called the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's more about being involved in the entire ecosystem rather than just on the storytelling or the creative side of the
Absolutely.
equation. Yeah.
1,000%, Sikandar. And then also too, we need to make sure that it's about understanding that it's a relationship game.
Sure.
It really is. It's about who knows you and who you know, and making those contacts and not being afraid to say, hey, I know you have an agent. Can you introduce me to your agent?
Right.
If I were embarrassed to reach out to an agent and say, hey, I got a screenwriter you should know. If I was embarrassed, nothing like that, there wouldn't be a Hollywood bureau. This is like, I don't want to say it's shameless, but you have to shed your inhibitions.
Right.
You have to be able to say, hey, this is Sue from MPAC and you need us.
Yeah. No, for
or
sure.
hey, you need to know this writer, Yeah.
You touched on it a little bit at the beginning that since 2016, since Trump's election, there's been, I think, more of a mindset amongst Hollywood to almost counteract with a level of liberalism that may translate into almost advocacy for the Muslim community. What I'm wondering, because we have started to see this shift, or perhaps we started to see more of a representation of Muslims within the entertainment industry. How much of that do you think is a product of these creatives, a la, Rami Youssef, Hassan Minhaj, a number of others, just, pushing their way to the top and breaking down, those barriers themselves? And how much do you think is a product of a changed landscape and just, really strong education and advocacy?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really good question. And again, this is where I say it's not all or nothing. They're not mutually exclusive. Hassan Minhaj and Rami, Maz Jobrani, Asif Manvi. I mean, they've been working, Maysoon Zayed. They've been working in the industry way before Trump ever ran for the presidency. They paid their dues.
Totally.
They have paid their dues. And I can tell you, I think that they would have been where they are, despite the landscape changing. I mean, I can't say that for sure, but I believe that because of their talent and their tenacity, Did the landscape change, the changing landscape, did that open up other doors for other people? Absolutely. But, with those, veterans, if you will, they've been doing the heavy lifting for so long. I think their time just came, and it's well deserved.
Let me put it a different way then.
Sure.
About 13 years ago, Maz made a joke in his Axis of Evil tour saying that he just wants to be able to turn on the TV and watch a group of Muslims baking cookies. Do you think we're ready for something like that yet?
Yeah, we are absolutely. And if you read the scripts that are coming through our screenwriting labs, they have nothing to do with terrorism. They have nothing to do with 9/11. They are literally everyday stories of our American Muslim existence.
Yeah.
And I predict, if we continue on this trajectory, I predict it's not going to take much longer before you see the next Blackish, like a Muslim Blackish,
right,
or Fresh Off the Boat, or the Goldbergs. I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
Right now you see the Ramis, but there'll be more Ramis, and hopefully we'll see stories from from the female side of the Muslim world. We have so much talent, but like any industry, there's so much competition, and I don't think there's barrier to entry, but there's a barrier to progress. So once you're in, you have to just hustle.
Right.
And I just wanted to ask you, like
Sophia.
you mentioned, because I think that like there's quite a bit of a glass ceiling being a woman in Hollywood, and then compounding that with being a Muslim woman in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the very specific challenges that Muslim women face in the industry, and then like how is that shifting?
That's a great question. I don't know if, and you know what, and I can't speak for all Muslim women, obviously, or any all Muslims, but obviously, but the women issue in Hollywood is a woman's issue. I don't know if I don't know if it's a Muslim woman issue. I mean, the fact that we're paid, a fraction of what men are paid, Muslim or non-Muslim, is real. However, for example, if you look at what Black women make as opposed to white women make, that's lower. So there's definitely
like an intersectionality.
Absolutely. It just becomes another layer of a challenge. So I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying it's an overall issue of with women. And then when you go deeper, Black, Muslim, Latinx, then the challenges are more profound. But no, it's real. It's a real thing. I mean, it's real. Yeah.
And do you think, because I know that like a lot of the people that we've mentioned have been men, so like Rami, Hassan,
yeah, exactly.
So like, do you feel like, because I think that like, rightly so, like they're very talented and they have been accepted by the broader community as well as the Muslim community. Do you feel like there will be an additional challenge there for Muslim women to be accepted in the same way by both the broader community and the Muslim community?
Like by the mainstream community?
As
mainstream
well as the Muslim. Is there just like a difference based on gender? Based on your expertise?
The short answer is yes. The short answer is yes, but that still doesn't mean that Muslim women can't be the next Ramis or even, have even more successful shows. So the short answer is yes, of course, because that is true for women all over the world. But that does not negate the fact that there are so many opportunities that, that we won't see, a female Rami, a female, Muslim woman be a showrunner. Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah. I really think our time is coming as women, as Muslim women. And look, I don't want to get all religious or philosophical or anything like that, but I mean, in our history, in our Muslim history, Muslim women led. And, they were, from Khadija, to Hafsa, to Aisha. We're not an anomaly like, we're modern day Muslim women. Hell no. We're our foundation. Virgin Mary's our foundation. She's our role model. So it's a matter of, navigating this crazy system and navigating the industry. And it's true for all women, regardless of faith or color. You have to do the hustling. You have to do the navigating, and it's harder for us in general. But that doesn't mean it can't happen. You know why, too? This industry loves to be successful. This industry loves to discover the new best thing. So if a female Muslim woman who has the next, project that's going to make someone millions, they're not going to care who it is, Yeah. So also just that hustling is going to help us break through. But definitely there are so many barriers.
Yeah, it's one of those things where even, with us last year, for example, for the Mosquers, we made it a very conscious decision to make that festival, last year's festival, shine a light specifically amongst the female Muslim creative community. And so we had, Salma Hindi do the hosting, and she's a very talented comedian. We had Mona Haider as our feature artist, and, we had a spoken word artist who is a female poet. And then half of our films were all either directed or starred. Actually, half of them were all directed by female Muslim creatives. And so I think providing that platform is one of those things where as we can continue to try to shine a light on those voices, those narratives, hopefully that plus the business side of the equation creates an opportunity for the female Muslim creatives to really get that opportunity. So I think we all have a part to play, especially with groups like ours.
Well, I think that's very that's so awesome to hear. And as the older generation transitions out, the immigrant population, transitions out, it's no longer going to be seen like, oh, look, we have a woman on the board of directors, or, oh, wow, we have one woman that's a panelist. It becomes a thing you don't, it will become a thing that you don't think about. Because I do know that in the immigrant, communities, it's like we are so happy when a woman becomes the board chair of a Muslim king. No, I mean, why? I mean, that should have happened from the beginning. Look, and I don't mean to be crass, Sikandar, but I don't mean to be crass, but the truth of the matter is, the male community is going to have to get on board or just get out of the way, because we're and I don't mean it. I don't mean that to you. Come on, I don't mean that to you, but you know what I mean.
I'll take it.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is, our voice is strong and we have so much to contribute, and damn it if we're going to be made to feel like someone's doing us a favor for being on a panel.
Totally.
So I mean, and that's what I love about Impact. That's what I love. I mean, women outnumber the men as staff, and when we have
too,
that's been
good,
sure.
And then because we get it done, right, Sofia?
Hell yeah.
And then also when we have panels, they lean, women, and I'll make a joke when I have a male. I'll be like, here's our token male, because you know why? We've been made a token for too long, and so the future is female. The future is underserved communities. In 2040, we're going to be the minorities are going to be the majority. So it's happening. Change is happening, and it's inshallah going to be great.
I want to go back a little bit to what we were talking about as it relates to representing Muslims in a more normalized light, if you will, right?
And that word,
that's not the right word.
I know.
I want to say,
it's okay.
You know what I mean?
It's okay. Yeah, I do know what you mean. I just want to.
In a more bacon cookies light. Let's call it that.
And another word I don't really care for is humanize us.
Right,
it's like, why do you need to humanize humans?
No, I completely agree. Where I'm going with this is that the Riz test, which came out a couple of years ago, in my opinion, was the baseline of don't make Muslims look like assholes, right? That was kind of the goal of the Riz test.
Such a simple, please.
You know what I mean? It was
absolutely.
Just don't make us look like complete and total assholes, and you're doing a good job. You guys just this past week released a new test, and it builds upon that. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and what was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, no, I mean, the Riz test is amazing, and it was, I think, put out 3 years ago, 3 years ago. And we felt that, now that we have a great pool of talent that is in the industry, working in the industry and doing the heavy lifting, number one, and number two, that the industry is reacting to us, that we needed to kind of go deeper into authentic and accurate and nuanced storytelling. So it's no longer, hey, don't be a dick and vilify Muslims. It's now get your Muslims in the writing room and have them tell the story.
Totally.
It's if you're going to represent, Islam, represent it correctly. And so it's deeper, and it's really consistent with the change that's happening in the industry. And so that's why it doesn't replace the Riz test. It just goes deeper than the Riz test.
And I wonder if we could maybe explore a little bit about these tests. So there have been tests over the last several years to kind of measure representation in Hollywood. And so I think the first one was the Bechdel test, which was with regards to female representation. So it was 3 questions, are there 2 female characters? Do they both have names? And then do they discuss something other than a man? And that was the test. And it's shocking how many movies do not pass
Correct.
that test. And like some of my, like I remember learning about that test in my first year of university, and I was like, all of my favorite movies basically suck. And so then since then there's been,
and we loved them, and we loved those movies.
And I was somehow relating so hard to these stories that I was nowhere in this story being told. But I guess that's how we're brainwashed right from the beginning. But, But and so then it's kind of expanded. So then the Ava test was created. So Ava DuVernay with regards to representation of Black people in film, and then the Riz test was similar, but it was specifically for representation for Muslim people, of course. And so the test that you created, which is the Obeidi Al Sultani test, talks a little bit, like it goes more in depth than just like, are there Muslims on the screen and like, are they not terrorists? It's more like, do they have colorful lives, and do you get to explore and learn about them? So could you tell us, because there's 5 questions as a part of this test, so can you tell us like what they are, maybe like go through them and kind of explain a little bit about how...
Sure. Do you mind? I'm going to pull it up. Do you mind?
Please do.
Yeah, so number 1, the project that includes a Muslim character does not reproduce or reinvent old tropes, but rather explores new stories and contexts. I mean, let's move away. That means we're 1.8 billion Muslims, and we have beautiful stories to tell. Are you still telling the old Muslim women are submissive, oppressed? You're
either like a good Muslim or a terrorist.
Exactly. Is it is terrorism, even though you have a good Muslim character, is the backdrop terrorism? Move away from that. I mean, there's so many stories. I mean, we're colorful people. I mean, a day in the life of my life alone could be a sitcom. Do you know what I mean? And so
we'd watch that.
But do you see what I'm saying? So that's what that means. Then number 2, the project that includes Muslim characters has a Muslim identifying writer on the staff. Okay, yeah. I mean, look, if you're going to have a show about Muslims or Islam or anything, you have to have Muslims in the writers' room. And we're not suggesting one token Muslim so the studio can say we hired a Muslim, PA or something. I'm talking about a real Muslim writer, staffed, and hopefully a showrunner, hopefully a head writer. And so that's what we're talking about on that one. Sorry, I just have to look because it's been
all good.
3, the Muslim character is not solely defined. Oh God, the religion, not solely defined by religion. Like, I'm so over every Muslim character having to be, I wear my religion on my sleeve. I want to be represented. I want Sofia represented. We're non-hijabis. I'm as practicing as they come. The fact that I don't wear hijab means nothing. I'm not represented. And I get the hijab is the identifier. I get it because we all look different. I get it. But we need to move away from that. FBI, the show with Zico Zaki, who I'm secretly madly in love with, has him, but he also he has a character that is that's his fiance or girlfriend or something, non-hijabi, and they talk about stuff. They talk about, our culture, and it's a good thing, but they don't wear Islam on their sleeves. And that's what we're saying. That's
not the only thing about them or the most important thing about them.
Exactly.
Like they're whole people. Exactly. They've had good character development.
Absolutely. Exactly. And being Muslim is just part of who they are. It's part of who they are. Number 4, the Muslim character has a strong presence. And character is essential. I mean, how many times have there been a 10-second scene of a Muslim character and then the person just goes away, you never see him again, whether it's a taxi driver, a gas station owner. No, we want supporting and leading characters who we know their backstories, and we want to know about their parents and their siblings and what have you. And so, we want to know about them as human beings. And then the last one is the Muslim character is portrayed with diverse backgrounds and identities. I'm so sick and tired, with all due respect to the Arab and South Asian communities. There we have Black Muslims. They're the number 1 Muslim. They're the largest population of Muslims in America. I don't know about Canada, but in America, they're the largest, and then the Latinx community is the fastest growing community in a Muslim community. And so I'm just over this whole South Asian Arab thing, and I'm an Arab, and so I'm just over it.
Yeah, we're South Asian, and we're over it.
But,
You know,
to build on that a little bit, I'm wondering what your thoughts are on, because through COVID and through this last kind of 4 or 5 months and through the entire BLM movement, which is, obviously long overdue, there's been kind of this opportunity for all industries, not just the entertainment industry, but all industries to just kind of take a pause, right? And to reevaluate and reassess. Do you think that there will be, coming out of this as we start to restart, do you think that there will start to be more of a realization that there needs to be this more diverse representation of these other types of communities? Even if you're looking more holistically within the Muslim community, but even outside of that, like the Black community, whether it's the Black Muslim community or not, or the Latin community and Muslim or not, do you think that we're going to start to see that more play out as we come back online with the kind of post-COVID era, if you will?
Yeah, the re-entry.
Yeah, the re-entry. Re-entry into society. Yeah,
exactly. The short answer is yes, but we have to keep pushing. It's not going to happen organically.
Right.
And what happened with the Redskins, changing their names.
We had one of our local teams, our football team, as also
renamed.
Is going to. They haven't picked one yet, but similarly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the short answer is absolutely yes. However, not without the heavy lifting and the pushing by the communities. Yeah. It's not going to happen organically. With all due respect to the straight white man in the ivory tower at a studio, we can't wait for him to wake up one day and say, "Hey, I want to improve Muslim narratives." That's not going to happen.
We literally can't wait for him to get woke.
We have to continue doing the heavy lifting, and look at the the Islamic movement in America and abroad and during the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. It's ongoing. Mm-hmm. There is absolutely no end game. Mm-hmm. There's no destination. Mm-hmm. It's a journey. So I feel, just to be as straight and transparent as possible, I am very hopeful. Mm-hmm. Not because I'm just hopeful. I'm hopeful because of people like you, your generation, and those younger than you, who aren't even going to give a leeway to BS. You all call BS before someone even finishes a sentence. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You don't mess around. You don't mess around. And so as the old guard transitions out and there's new guard, the new guard comes in, and hopefully they're woke and as woke as you all are, you will see the change. It'll be tangible and it'll be real. And I inshallah it'll be forever. But even then, we still have to maintain. Mm-hmm. It's like our relationship with anything, right? With our parents, our friends. You have to keep working at it, and can't take it for granted. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We cannot take it for granted. Mm-hmm. And so that's my short answer.
No, that's fantastic. Okay, do you have any last questions that you wanted to get to before?
So many, but
yeah, we'll be mindful of time. But before we wrap this up, we love to always end with a segment of rapid fire questions. These are not meant to be taken overly seriously. The first thing that pops into your mind, just give us whatever answer comes to you.
I don't know if you really don't want to know what the first thing pops in my mind. But
we do, though.
Okay,
that's exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so 5 questions. We're going to go back and forth. Here we go. Okay, number 1. What's your most rewatched movie of all time?
The Sound of Music.
Okay, all right, right on.
All right, number 2. What is your favorite type of potato?
Like
mashed.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. What's the most binge-worthy show on any streaming platform right now?
Dead to Me.
I was just thinking that.
I love Dead to Me. Did you watch it?
It's so good. It's I recently watched it. It's so good.
All right,
okay, the movie that has done either the best job or the worst job of portraying Muslims, you can choose. Or do both if you would like.
I mean, there's a lot of examples of worst. So I'll just say the best, The Kingdom of Heaven.
Oh, yeah. Good pick. Good
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, did you learn any random skills during quarantine?
That's not rapid fire. No. I'm not.
No, it's fine.
I'm not a happy camper.
There you go.
I'm not a happy camper. Yeah, I'm not a happy. I'm social distancing. I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
But this is not natural for
I'm
me.
with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It just reaffirmed that I'm a people's person. Yeah, people. Yeah.
Right on. There you go.
Yeah.
Extrovert in your blood.
On that note, thank you so much for your time, Sue.
Thank
This
you.
was
I hope this
fantastic.
served you well.
This
So
absolutely
wonderful,
did.
yeah.
How can people find out more information
Thank
about
you.
MPAC or
Sure.
about the works that you guys
Please visit mpachollywoodbureau.org.
Great.
And if they want to email me, please email me at hollywooddirector@mpac.org.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you
All
again.
right. Best wishes. Keep doing. I just want to turn it around on you.
Oh.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
The future is bright. You are the future. Figure out ways. If you're a storyteller, if you're a secret storyteller, secret producer, secret director, follow your dreams. If your parents are forcing you to be a brain surgeon, accountant, or architecture, fight it. Fight it. If you want to be in this business, be in this business because it's real and it's the most powerful business there is.
Amen. On that note,
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank
This
you.
was
Bye, Hamada.
fantastic.
Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of The Halal Gap. You can find us online by searching Mosquers Film Festival on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Latest skaters.
Hope you can join us next time for what will be our final episode for this season. That's probably good enough.